Howdy, and welcome back to our 10 Commandments series. Today, we're talking about the 8th commandment, and as you can see, somebody stole our set. That doesn't mean we don't have our prizes. So, you guys should follow along with your flat books and your booklet at home. You can show us on Facebook that you've done it, or you can bring it in person when church reopens, because you get brownie points. Brownie points get you in the prize box. We have some of those here to fill the space in our set. This is a egg with little toys in it and stickers. This is a horse that shoots balls out of its nose. Actually, I think that's a unicorn. There's a dinosaur with an egg in it that I don't know what's in the egg. There's Hot Wheels and bubble ones and squishy unicorns and popper snots, which I don't know what these are completely. And we have these little plush keychain thingies. So, if this isn't tempting enough, I think you should follow along and complete our challenges that we put on the youth page, the children's church page, because those also get you brownie points. And the more brownie points you get, the more prizes you get when church reopens. So today we are talking about do not steal and always tell the truth. Stealing is taking something without permission, or borrowing without permission. When you take a cookie off of a cooling tray, when mom just got the cookies out of the oven, and she didn't give you permission to do that, is that stealing? The answer is yes, because you didn't get permission from your mom to take a cookie. If you see your brother or your sister take a cookie without permission, does that make it that stealing? And should you do it because your siblings did? The answer is yes, it's stealing, and no, you shouldn't do it. Should you tell your mom that you saw your sibling take a cookie? Yes. If you saw a crime in the street, and you didn't call the police, and you didn't tell anybody, did you help? Are you now part of that crime because you didn't report it? The answer is yes. When you see something that you know isn't right, you should always tell somebody. What's the worst that could happen? You think your mom's going to ground you and your siblings for 30 years until you graduate college because you took a single cookie? I don't know your parents, but I have a hard time believing that any parent would do that. Now, should you tell your parents just to spite your siblings? No, you shouldn't. But you should do it because it's the right thing to do. Forgiveness will always help. And being honest will always help. Would you tell, if you went to your mom and said, he stole all the cookies, he ate all of them, when you ate them, that's not right, and that's lying. And if you didn't ask, that's also stealing. And you should always tell the truth, and you should never steal. If you tell them they did not do it at all, and that there was never a cookie there, that's lying. And that's not good either. You shouldn't lie about it. If they ask you, you should tell them. The worst that could happen is probably being told not to do it again. You should always tell the truth if you see a crime. You shouldn't lie about who you saw or who did it. You shouldn't say somebody else did something that they didn't do. And if you do it, you should always ask for forgiveness, because honesty is the best policy. If you do something that you shouldn't and you get caught, you should always tell the truth about it. If your friend or brother or sister asks you to is confessing something to you that they did, you should always take it to the right people. You shouldn't hold on to their secrets if it's something that they did really bad. Now, if they're telling you something like stupid or funny that's a secret that they've kept that doesn't harm anybody or isn't stealing or lying, then you should keep someone's secret. But if it's something like they stole something or they lied about somebody else, you should always do your best to tell the right people about that and help out the person. Because that's not hurting. They might think it's funny, but it's hurting somebody else. There's always consequences for what you do. Consequences can be getting in trouble or losing a friend, having your siblings get mad at you for a little bit. But if you lose a friend because you did the right thing, they weren't a good friend anyways. If your sibling's mad at you for a little bit, siblings are always mad at you for something, and that will change eventually. My mom's behind the camera. She just did a weird look at me for that one. And God will be happy with you if you be honest about it. Because he doesn't want you lying. He doesn't want you stealing. You know, you can always ask you, WWJD, what would Jesus do? Would Jesus steal a cookie? When he was a kid, he would not. Would he ask for a cookie? Yes. What's the worst could happen if you ask? Parents say no and you get one later when they're cool. Because when they come out of the oven, they're hot. They don't want you to burn yourself. Best that could happen is they say yes and you get a cookie. In the end, you get a cookie either way. It's just later. It's rather of time than need. Because you probably don't need a cookie when they just came out of the oven. God is always watching you. You might think that he's not, because it's hard to believe that one being is watching everybody at all times. And that's hard to believe, especially when you're little. But he is. He is everywhere at once. He is not in one place. He knows what you're thinking. He knows what your heart wants. He's there all the time. And you might think that God's not going to see me steal this cookie. He's not going to know. He is, and he's not going to be happy because you stole a cookie. And he's not going to be happy if you lie about taking a cookie. Forgiveness is something that even God gives, and he gives it a lot. And there's nothing that you should be ashamed about when it comes to telling God. And when you do something and you need to tell somebody, you shouldn't be ashamed about it because you're doing the right thing. Stealing and lying are considered traps because you can get stuck in them. If you steal something, you could get stuck in the habit of stealing other things. It could start with a cookie and end with a car because you climb the chain of, that worked for me, so maybe I could do this, and then maybe I could do this. And that's not good. And lying, you tell one lie, I didn't steal the cookie. Well, where'd the cookie go? You have to lie about where the cookie is, and then you lie more, and you make lies to get out of the lie. And then you get stuck in a trap of lying. And that's not good either, because one little thing can lead to one big thing. And it's a chain of events. If you act like God's not there, and God didn't see you doing it, you're blocking God from the situation, and he can't help you get out of it because you won't let him. It's best to be completely honest with God and your parents about things like this because they can escalate quickly. The truth will set you free, and being free is a great thing. Our verses today are Deuteronomy, I don't remember what, Deuteronomy 5:19, I got it. That's, you shall not steal. Ephesians 4:28, he who has been stealing must steal no longer, but must work doing something useful with his own hands, that he may have something to share with those in need. And Leviticus 6:2, if anyone sins and is unfaithful to the Lord by deceiving his neighbor about something entrusted to him or left in his care or stolen, or if he cheats with him. That's being an accomplice, helping somebody lie or steal something, which is not good in the end. So the point of today's lesson is don't steal, and if you do, be honest about it. And don't lie, and if you do, be honest about it. Nothing is worse than eternity. And this one little thing that you might not think matters can determine the rest of your life. I hope you learned something today, and I hope you join us next week with our next lesson.